Yeah, because I'm a sun enjoyer. Right there. Cool. What's up,
You guys
everyone?
did
How's
both.
everyone doing? What's this? The 5th edition of Money Monday?
I think it's
Some-
4 or 5,
Is it
something
already?
like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think it's 4 or 5.
It
Something like
depends who you include in the hosts.
that. Right.
Yeah.
We got Armand early in the building tonight. What up, Armand? Elijah, Chad. Discord game. Oh, the Noti might have gone out early this time, Miles. So we might have a crew in here.
Oh, we're lucky. Cool. Yeah, everyone hopping in or watching the replay, make sure you guys get ready. Free training we have going down Wednesday night, 7 p.m. It's linked in the description. It's also linked to my Instagram bio right there. So it's going to be a good time. And, okay. Oh, chat's lit tonight. Guys, we got a ripping panel. You guys know every Monday, 5 p.m. So fire away on the questions. Right there, Corey got a haircut as well, it looks like.
I did. Fine. I needed it. It was much needed.
Okay, much needed. All right. Cool.
What up, Gene, Brandon, Big Joe in the building? What up? Yeah. So let us know. Let us know what questions you guys got. We'll be hanging out for I think probably like 45 minutes or so tonight. And yeah, we spending some money today, fellas.
Yeah, well, Warner and I were scheming a little bit on some. We were both thinking the same thing.
We were scheming a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
On what you said on like some OA deals?
Yeah.
Oh wait, deals, babe. We might even have to tap Uncle Garrett into it too.
He makes his celebrity appearance back into the world of OA. You do a good amount of OA still, right, Garrett?
I haven't touched
okay.
OA.
Okay.
You know, you can't. Your parents raised you better than to say no of it.
If I'm getting tapped in though, I'll join the party for show.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Like if Jimmy FaceTimes at 11:33, you're not picking it up.
Well, I would have to find a prep center. Oh, my only prep center is in Massachusetts now.
Love it. All right, getting some good questions. You live out of the U.S. How do you start prep center? Probably want a U.S. LLC as well. But talk to a lawyer or something about that. Good one for you there, Corey.
Yeah. So this person asked, you do a quick phone call, 30-second introduction script to brand. So I left a voicemail for a brand like 20 minutes ago. So it might be kind of what you're looking for. I pretty much just said, hey, my name's Corey Ganim. I'm looking at a bulk purchase of product X and product Y. So 2 products we had already purchased before from a distributor. And I said, we're currently buying them through X distributor. Was calling to see about possibly buying them directly from you guys. Love to get a call back from somebody in sales. My number is XYZ. So that's a voicemail script, and it could be used the exact same way if you're just reaching out like via phone call.
And so what would be your cadence to then follow up? Is that a couple days, couple weeks, another month in terms of like if no one calls back?
Yeah, so I set it to do for tomorrow. I am going to be on these people like white on rice. I'm so over like getting people anytime to get back to me. Because like I have a very big sense of urgency. I expect everybody I work with to be the same. I won't work with people that don't.
Love it. Also whipping out your grandma's sayings there.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's boomer hour right there.
What did I say?
White on rice.
White on rice. I haven't heard anyone but like my great grandparents say
You think
that.
that's really? What did I say last week?
fine.
Garrett called me out on because he was like Miles keeps receipts, and I thought he meant it literally. I've never heard anybody.
Yeah,
I've never heard anybody
Right
say
over.
that in the context that you use it.
Okay, this is a super good one for you, Corey. Corey, could you touch on running PPC campaigns for OA products? And it works for wholesale too, but can you talk about that? Because you have that one really good strategy that like everyone should use.
Yeah, and so I'll explain it real quick. I also have a YouTube video on it, so I don't even know what it's called, but it's in my channel from a couple of months ago. Basically, it's called the Catch All Auto PPC campaign. It takes 3 minutes to set up. You create a campaign. It's a sponsored products campaign. You add every single active listing in your inventory to that campaign. You set a fixed bid at 5 cents and you set a daily budget at $50. You'll never even get close to the $50 per day in spend. And I actually looked at it the other day and I could pull it up here in a second, but since 2020, I think September of 2020 is when we enabled it. So 3 years ago to the month, it's generated something like, it was either 200,000 or 600,000 in sales. It's generated a shit ton of sales at like a 39% return on ads, or sorry, not 39%, 39x return on ad spend. So for every dollar we spend on ads, we get $39 back, which is literally free money.
Is that your best performing YouTube video? It's got to be up there.
It's up there. I think my best performing one is my first Smart Scout one, I think.
because I've personally sent hundreds of people to that video specifically. I'm sure Miles has sent over 1,000.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But no, that's a strategy where, like, even if you're a brand new seller, if you have one listing, create that campaign and then make it a daily or a weekly task where you just go in. It's really easy to add even a bunch of new products to that campaign in one go. There's a button where you can click add all products on this page to campaign. And so even if you've got hundreds of products in your inventory, you just hit that button a couple of times because I think it's 50 products per page. You get everything in there, and then your sales will increase on average by about 10%. Just from implementing that campaign.
So speaking of hundreds of products, Miles, we've been getting this question a bunch. Do you delete listings or products when you're out of the item or just put it on close for the moment? The reason why you shouldn't necessarily go through and delete them, because a lot of products, especially OA, are cyclical, right? A pair of Nike shoes, you may buy a couple, and then a couple months later, maybe the sale comes back on or something like that. Problem being, you have no data to resort to when you see that product again. Right? If you have a couple months of data, even if it's not previous data, even if it's for the past year, you have a foot to go off of. You have some indication that says my business does this amount over this period of time. That can fuel some future orders. But if you delete the listing, all that data goes away, right? And so it's data. You might as well have it, keep it there, and just be able to use it if and when you want to order that product again.
Yeah, I would add the caveat is if it's a brand you're worried about IPing, you should delete it. But that's beyond that, because it's so annoying when you get you'll get complaints for something you haven't sold in 6 months. Like, damn it, I knew I should have deleted that.
That's exactly what I was about to say. That's the only thing to keep in mind is that's it.
Okay, cool. Here's a good one. Yo, Corey, what exactly are we supposed to send in with the purchase order? Why can't we just ask the supplier for X amount of product Y and just pay?
You can. I mean, there's been plenty of scenarios where we've been working with a supplier for a long time. So we can just send a text message and say, hey, we need X amount of this product, and it's no problem. But the idea behind sending a purchase order is, one, a lot of companies, especially bigger companies, require them. So they're going to need a legitimate purchase order with your build to address, your ship to address, all of your information on it to be able to process that order internally. And another thing that does, especially if it's a supplier that maybe you're working with for the first time, or maybe you only have 1 or 2 orders under your belt with them, it just establishes legitimacy. So if you've got a purchase order template with your logo on it, with your shipping address, with your billing address, with your pricing, with all the instructions for them to fulfill your order, it's going to just look way more professional.
Yeah, with your logo. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Big time.
It's also just a bookkeeping thing. But yeah, a lot of the deals will go down once you got relationships. Yo, can I get 1,000 more of that? And yep.
Mm-hmm.
Can you make 100,000 a year Amazon arbitrage? Of course, if you put in the time, if you have the capital. Because the fact that it's a 2-part equation, right? It's capital and experience. You can have all the sourcing knowledge, all the experience in the world, but if you don't have the money to spend, then you're not really going to go very far. You're still going to grow, but at a very diffused rate. And so it's capital, it's experience, and then when you solve both of those issues, that's when you can pour gas in the fire and grow really, really fast.
Can I do this in Canada? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Canadians crushing it.
Canadians doing OA and wholesale.
For sure. Yeah. Bobby cleaning out the famous footwear during the break. That you love to see that.
Or prompt Amazon to ask for invoices. Customers are always kind of initiate authenticity scenarios or authenticity issues. So you'll need those invoices to prove that your products are legitimate.
Sweet.
Say you bought an item in a large lot or from a thrift store charity shop here in UK.
If they ask for if they ask for an invoice, you're not going to have it. That's why you need to sell that stuff as used if you're buying it from thrift stores.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. So I think a common thing that a lot of newer sellers think is that I can just source from thrift stores and flip on Amazon. And really, that's if you're going to buy from thrift stores, sell it on eBay, or if you're going to sell it on Amazon, sell it as used. If you're buying it from thrift store.
Yeah. Brandon was mentioning the ungating list we were making, which should be down below for Miles and I. Somebody messaged me and said they ungated 1,000 brands. They're just cranking. They built a script to just automate it and crank the ASIN.
Oh, that's nice.
They're yo, I got 1,000 brands.
Yeah. So we used actually an incredible 9-minute run without an ungating question. Actually, we'll tear the Band-Aid up right there. But yeah, guys, you can download or go ahead and click the link in the description for the auto ungate guide. Every single person watching this can go ahead and get over 100 brands ungated today for $0. no invoices needed. And that's going to help you also get approved for stuff that does require an invoice in the future too. So everyone should go ahead and do that.
How'd you guys find those brands? Did you use like a specific method, or you just kind of accumulated?
Cranking a KPI.
Yeah, just find them.
What's y'all's take on Amazon asking for your supplier invoice, how to deal with that? So just based on your other question, I can tell you haven't really done much outreach to suppliers yet. So unless that's been an issue for you, that's the last thing I would be worried about right there. But you just got to deal with it if it comes, and have good relationships with these suppliers and such right there. But that is, like, I can say with 99.9% certainty you're never going to need it for the most part. Holy
You can bulk add 20. There you go. Nick did 840.
That's just like insanity. Like disgusting. Like,
wow.
Watching this go. I mean, there's gotta only be like 5,000 reseller friendly brands. Yeah, or like
there's more than that.
Yeah. Well, reseller,
but like big brands, but like big,
big
brands.
That have like 50 plus SKUs or whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. Yeah.
How long did it take to get all those brands on the list? Probably a while.
Yeah, I did all. Attaboy. Landing page to support legitimacy. Any tips and tricks? So there's a site called Carrd, CARRD. It's like $8 a year or something, and you can build a really simple landing page on there. Learn with YouTube videos. However, if you haven't done any wholesale outreach yet, I would just start doing that. That'll make you move you significantly closer to your goal. But just watch a YouTube video, build a landing page. It'll literally take like 30 minutes of just sitting there and copying stuff. And what's nice too is that if you go to any of the listings you're looking to sell wholesale, or just look at any wholesalers on Amazon, you can find their LLC name and their store name, and then you can just go to those domains and get inspiration really, really easily on what a good wholesale website looks like too.
Yep, and it depends. So as far as the website's concerned, so it's not 100% essential to start an Amazon wholesale business. I really think again, not 100% essential. If you haven't started, you need to start reaching out to brands. Don't let the website hold you back. But having a website is going to add that layer of legitimacy that for like the 30 minutes or an hour to set up a website. Oh,
yeah. He was
am I here?
We're good.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Clip's messed up though.
Basically, the return on the time spent to set up that website is going to be well worth it, right? If it takes you 30 minutes to set up a website, then it just helps you appear a lot more legitimate. I will say, a bad website is worse for your credibility than no website. So if you're just going to throw up some shitty landing page, don't do it. But I did have somebody on LinkedIn reach out the other day and said, or sorry, maybe it was Facebook, but he said that he owns a brand. He said he gets probably 10 inquiries per week from Amazon sellers looking to resell his brand. And he said that 90% of those sellers have a Gmail address and no website. Which I thought at this point, that's what I said. I was like, dude, we're clearly not doing our job, because like the bar is just so low. Like it really is.
Many people are still trying to. That's crazy.
I know.
The fact of the matter is, if you reach out to 500 brands over the next month, you will win 50 of those, 30 of those, 60 of those, right? Not all of those are going to be profitable, but 1 to 2%, 5% of the ones you reach out to, you'll probably be able to purchase from in some capacity. Now, the cool thing is, right, that small sample size is going to compound. Some of those, the pricing gets better. Some of those, they may add products that are profitable as you have experience with them. Right? All these things happen once you get your foot in the door. But a lot of the times, you just simply have to get your foot in the door.
We're doing 10 new brands per day for the next probably month to 45 days. We're really cranking it up, going for brand direct accounts that will hopefully turn into exclusives.
Because you were saying for a while that you weren't doing too much outreach, right?
We haven't done outreach since like January, and even in January it was primarily to like a select few distributors. But our margins are just across the board better when we go brand direct, and not just with any brands, but with brands that get it, right? Like our philosophy now is we're pivoting to focus more directly with brands, but not just any brands. The brands have to get it, and they've got to want to clean up Amazon. Like we've had experiences in the past where we're working with brands and they drag their feet on Amazon. They take a while to fulfill our orders. They just don't prioritize Amazon. And we're past the point where we like need that brand's business. We're only going after brands that want to grow on Amazon, that want to have a partner that can get them there, and where we can deal with the decision maker and they're ready to make it happen.
Possible to see you guys find a winning product live. We've done a bunch of that on YouTube. You can get your Miles.
But, I mean, between Miles, myself, and Warner, we probably have tens of hours of live sourcing.
Oh, hundreds.
You guys have a ton.
Yeah, probably like 50. hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then also you'll want to come to the live training on Wednesday night, which is where we'll be doing that as well. But yeah, definitely. And I'm down to do I'll do that on stream sometimes too.
But and then even still with that live sourcing, right? Those products specifically, because they've just gotten a lot of attention, may not be profitable. However, there's never going to be a dead end product. The products we find may lead you to sites you've never heard of, to sellers you haven't seen before, to sellers that have interesting brands or interesting products, right? Every single one of those products you can learn from a data perspective, but also learn from and connecting to adjacencies inside sellers and sites and brands that you haven't necessarily even seen before.
So Potato said wholesaling is very similar to high ticket drop shipping. Would you agree? No.
We don't use the D word around here.
Yeah, well, no, I mean high ticket drop shipping still, but no, like with that, you're gonna need to get customers to your Shopify site. On Amazon, your only job is to locate products that sell quick. Well, it's very easy to find them and then finding them properly. Basically,
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the stuff you end up selling wholesale is lower ticket than even like OA items.
Way lower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's similar though, because like high ticket drop shipping, I know the guy who kind of modernized it. Like you actually do close suppliers, you build relationships. It is dope. Like
you can do drop shipping legit, and I can see how it makes sense high ticket. It just makes no sense, like with toilet paper and that kind of stuff. These people doing it,
right?
It's like saunas, hot tubs, shit like that.
Chris Potter ran his entire business drop shipping
back in the day. Yeah,
that was like his first e-com business. Yeah.
Well, that was on Amazon.
But I mean, it was like, I think he had a drop shipping business and then he transitioned to more like traditional wholesale the way we do it. At least that was my understanding. I could be wrong.
I don't think so. Yeah, cool. But who knows?
Oh, I might be wild. With your guys' experience, do you ever purchase a large amount knowing you will win the buy box? All the time. However, if you're a newer seller worried about getting the buy box on something, don't really be. You can really, really easily see if it's rotating a lot just by looking at the data and then buy box statistics on Keepa. However, if you're at all worried about that, and you're a new seller, right, you want to data your way to buying heavy, right? Purely, right? So just buy your normal 3, 5, 10 units. And then over time, you're going to get more confident in your muscles of reading Keepa charts and such, right? And then you'll increase your quantities.
Yeah, I mean, going off of that, one of the bigger red flags is if you come across a listing where there's 6, 5, 7 sellers in the buy box, but 20 on that listing, 25 on the historical listing, right? There's probably a reason that there's such a big delta between the buy box rotation and the sellers that are priced competitively, emphasis on the price competitively and with a competitive offer. And those are the sorts of listings that you don't necessarily have to be shying away from, but you have to audit, right? So Miles is saying audit on a smaller scale, 5, 10, 15, 20 units, just to make sure you can earn some buy box share and then go deeper once you have that validation, right? Because it's going to be tough to garner sales if you can't kind of penetrate that rotation like that. My bad, Warner.
You're all good. Yeah, I was just gonna say like that's like the biggest thing that helps people go from like 10 to 20K a month to like making serious numbers. It's just like once you get over this being scared of buying a bunch at once, that's how you go to serious numbers on Amazon.
Is the live content on the channel? Yes. What do you mean by delta, Garrett?
Like the difference?
Change, like difference.
Yeah. How do you win the buy box without being the lowest price? So you just price where everyone else is that's getting the buy box. There's a lot of factors that go into it that aren't priced. Also like delivery date, which if you're FBM, hashtag 0-day handling time, right there using your e-pricer. My favorite one's BQL. If you want to support your boy, there's an affiliate link down below and a tutorial going over that. But it's largely dependent on pricing, delivery date, and stuff like that.
A general rule of thumb for the pricing, though, is you want to be pricing where the product has been or product will be, right? If it's seasonal, obviously, you're probably kind of depending on where it's going to be, especially with like some of the winter stuff heading up. But generally speaking, if you price where the historical buy box has been, you'll have success.
Armand asked, am I doing any hazmat? So yeah, we do some hazmat. We're not doing it heavily. We're not super focused on it, but we are approved for the program, and some hazmat products do really well.
Yeah, just buy your something that I didn't know for a long time is you can literally just buy the hazmat shipping on Pirate Ship. I thought it was way more complicated than that for a long time.
Or just UPS, literally UPS.com.
Yeah, I was way overcomplicating it. So it's way easier to make money in hazmat. So lots of you guys sleeping on that.
Yeah, it's a good rule of thumb just on the pirate ship thing. Occasionally, when you guys are doing FBM, you're going to see egregiously high shipping costs on Amazon. Very rarely, like 1 out of every 100, 200 orders, right? In the case of that, test it out. One, just refresh it, play with the weight a little bit, refresh it. And then also test via pirate ship, and you should be able to save some nice cash with that too. Ooh, national distributors versus local distributors for wholesale.
Yeah, I like that question. So the answer is, I mean, both work, right? Both will have profitable products. Both you can build great relationships with. I personally recommend newer sellers start local. And I think it's a very underrated method for newer sellers to start local and show up to those suppliers in person, right? You can lead with a phone call or an email, but having the ability to show up to the warehouse, meet your sales rep, meet the people there, it's going to go such a long way in just establishing that relationship with that supplier. Whereas with national suppliers, you typically can't do that. And also with national suppliers, you are a very small fish. You're just a number compared to, the thousands of huge customers they have. So again, pros and cons to both, but I prefer local when comparing apples to apples.
So my thought on that, because that is a good question. We're getting the ball rolling much more successfully with smaller ones. But my thought on that is, if you do have like, a million liquid, are you a big fish in the national? Like, is that the correct decision, or do you still play local?
So you're saying if you have like a million cash,
like for someone who's got a bunch of cash, like, can they be competitive at that national level? Or are we talking like you got to be Walmart?
Yeah, no, you can be. I mean, all of us could be competitive. Like we buy from some national distributors. Yeah. I think it depends on the brand, and also some national distributors will run certain discount, like similar to retail sites in some regard, where like some big distributors will have promotions, right? There'll be a certain discount on a brand or a certain like a closeout on a certain product, right? So it's very much dependent on a lot of times on your sales rep, on the month of the year, what promotions they're running. And another thing, I just had a good point in mind about local versus national. Oh, yeah, now I remember. I almost forgot. So something that I've noticed when comparing national distributors to, I wouldn't call them local, but maybe more regional is a better word for it. So I've noticed that comparing apples to apples, regional suppliers almost always have better pricing than the big national distributors. And when I thought about it, I'm like, that doesn't make sense, because you think these huge national distributors are buying in huge quantities, right? You think they'd be getting better pricing as a result. But at the same time, the only way that makes sense to me is these huge national distributors have such high overhead. They've got hundreds of employees. They've got hundreds of thousands, if not millions of square feet of warehouses. They've got salespeople to pay. They've got all these overhead expenses, whereas maybe these smaller local or regional distributors don't have all those expenses. So therefore, their costs are lower. Therefore, they can pass these savings on to their customers. And like I said, we work with national, we work with local, and typically, if we're comparing brand to brand, the local guys almost always have slightly better pricing.
Oh, look at this Debbie Downer right here. Don't make money. Go work for 50 years. Right there. Oh no, nothing works.
They usually don't, right? Because you've only done it 5 times and it didn't work in the first 5 times.
You couldn't walk, bro. You were terrible at walking,
bro. Yeah,
terrible at walking.
How long did it take you to learn to spell, bro? Come on,
bro. Years? Low key, right? Years, right? Yeah, I think so.
What happens when the BSR shoots up to 200,000 after it was under 1,000? So it's likely it's something happened with the variations. Likely one of the heavy hitter variations got split off, and then all the associated sales history and things like that got split off. That's probably what happened. Other than or there's just some or moved categories. It wouldn't probably result in that big of a difference, though.
Damn, I can't even explain how much you have to screw up buying leads on Black Friday, Cyber Monday. You have to be incredible.
It's like the freest money you'll get all year on Amazon.
Incredibly pinpointed and just do the wrong stuff, basically.
Anything that sells fast and you buy cheap Black Friday, it's like impossible to not make money.
So Joe made a great point. So he said, going local helps build the bond. You can meet him in person for lunch. And you could also find out, like you said, you might eventually turn into one of their bigger buyers, right? And that gives you so much more leverage. If you're a big buyer for a local guy, you're going to have so much more leverage than if you're a small fish for a national guy. And he made another good point. So something you can do for some of these local suppliers, and you can do this for big suppliers too, but I think it goes a lot farther with the local folks, is you can help them liquidate products that maybe they can't move or they're having trouble selling. And they might either give you a really good price on it, or you're kind of just doing your sales rep a solid and they're going to remember that next time they get a really hot deal in, you're going to be the first call.
Not to mention, I mean, I don't even know if we mentioned this, but like shipping is going to be way cheaper. Turnaround time is going to be way cheaper. Right? I mean, shipping freight coast to coast is not going to be cheap. That's thousands of dollars. That's going to eat into your margin. And I mean, the local ones are probably just harder to find, right? If it's like a small hole in the wall place that you drive by the warehouse every day that doesn't necessarily have a lot of good marketing, it's probably a pretty big moat in terms of accessibility into those products. Totally.
Yeah. And I mean, I know we've said this a million times before, but I think it bears repeating. A lot of these, pretty much any city or town, any decent sized city or town is going to have like a warehouse district. And if you just take a day just to drive through it, and you don't even have to go up to the door, but just make a note of the companies there, I guarantee you a large majority, maybe even 50% or more, aren't even listed on Google. They don't have a website. They're not in the phone book because they've been in business for 30, 50, 60, 80 years. They've been working with the same customers the whole time. It's a family-run business. They don't really have a need to expand that much online or elsewhere. And so the only way you'd find them is either you see their truck driving down the road and you give them a call, or you happen to walk by their warehouse and either knock on the door or reach out to them that way.
And it sounds silly, right? But when we're doing when we talk about using Google to source distribution companies and things like that, those companies that may have a phone number but no website or no email address, you know how many Amazon sellers are seeing that and be like, I can't send an email. I'm going to keep them.
Yep.
Right? We've all seen those distribution companies that only have a phone number, not really much information, not really much detail in terms of potentially where they're located or what they sell. Most sellers, most of your competition are just skipping over and keeping it moving. Right. And also to continue like the source thing, when you're driving, keep your eyes open, right? You're going to pass so many of those big 18-wheelers that are driving for a distribution company, a brand with branding and a phone number on the side of the truck.
Not bad.
Miles was having.
Yeah, well, Garrett, you tweeted that today, right? It looked like you drove by solid wholesaler, and
I put out that tweet every couple of weeks.
You drove by him at some point.
Yeah, that was years old, but yeah.
Miles, have you found that moving to Miami distracts you a lot more now? It's significantly less distracting, I would say, because there's you don't run into the random person in your town that you just you have no reason to talk to other than that they happen to have a small chapter of your life 5 years ago. There's zero of that.
Dude, I mean, if you're disciplined, you're going to be disciplined anywhere. If you're not disciplined, you're going to be undisciplined anywhere.
You're in control. You're in control.
I was totally about to say that. I was like, I feel like for most people, moving to Miami would probably be very distracting. But for people like Miles that are locked in, no, if anything, it's like you said, it's the opposite because you're around other people that are grinding and it kind of pours gas on your fire. Yeah, it's all about who you hang out with and what you do.
You haven't done it enough, man. I mean, if you can't find distributors on Google, they're nowhere.
You can, I mean,
but I think he's saying he just has better luck with brands. I recognize him. I think he's putting in the work, but I wouldn't say
that's the best place to start for beginners is Google.
For sure.
I mean, just from a pure volume perspective, you can come up with a list of 1,000 distribution companies probably within an hour across several different niches: grocery, beauty, toys, tools, right? Hundreds and hundreds within a couple minutes, all that are probably reasonable driving distance. And then it's just a matter of doing the outreach and then iterating on that outreach, following up, answering the no's, asking why they're saying no, explaining your case, explaining your value add, explaining what you can provide. All of those things, that's part of the process. It's not you find the distribution company, you reach out, you get the account, you place the orders. If it was that easy, a lot more people would be doing wholesale at a bigger scale.
Do you guys think experienced sellers would do work to learn? That I get that a lot. Do you guys get those emails like, can I work for you and you teach me type stuff?
No, I think the right person would. It's just the person asking never gives themselves any leverage because you don't know them. There's nothing.
It's not as good of an offer as people think it is because it takes way more work than the $400 to $800 a month it costs to hire an employee that's already trained. So you're way better off just going to YouTube, paper trade some products, right? So, hey, I would have bought it this day for this price. Check back a couple weeks later. If you're trying to learn, especially if you're trying to be a VA, just paper trade some stuff and see how it would have gone for you.
I've always wondered how those are, Corey. Do you like them? The
AirPod Maxes? Yeah. So somebody asked for those AirPod Max. Need an honest review.
No,
yeah, they are.
The EMFs, baby. The EMFs. Can't be.
I've had them.
Tapping your brain like that.
Is that what you're? Is that a thing?
I have them too. They're awesome.
Yeah,
they're awesome.
What are you wearing right now, Warner?
What do you mean?
You got your high note.
It's for stream. You can't see them really, and it's just better audio. Like,
but yeah, they're fantastic. I've had them for about a year. I want to say they weren't cheap, but they were really good. Better than any of the other. I've had every AirPod model, and these are my favorite.
They're kind of a throwaway money purchase, but they are worth it.
I use Amex points.
Battery?
Yeah, exactly. I use points too.
Oh, they last, dude. They last for like 4 hours, maybe, if not longer.
Yeah, we should do Money Mondays and then 10 minutes of tech review. A random 10-minute stretch of Money Mondays is tech review. You guys have to just deal with it.
So this is a real good question. What's some things you can add to these wholesalers? I mean, it's from a wholesale perspective. It's all the things that you may be overthinking: fluent communication, quick pay, wiring, right? Consistent orders, obviously, size of orders. Those are to name a few. Corey, what else you got?
Well, feedback too. So if they send you a lead, and even if it's not a good fit, tell them why, and that way they'll be able to tailor future deals to you. And I think, Garrett, you hit on all the key points. So I mean, paying quickly is so underrated, right? If you get an invoice from a supplier, I don't care if it's 6 p.m. If you just pay it immediately, like that just shows them you're serious. It shows you're professional. Speed, communication. And
don't back out. If they send you an order that you committed to, you can't go back.
Yeah. And I mean, if that means that if the price change, if Amazon jumped on the listing, whatever, I mean, I'm not saying like move forward with an order where you're losing like thousands of dollars, but there's been plenty of situations where we've committed to an order. Maybe it was a back order. So maybe it was going to take 2 or 3 weeks to come in. 2 or 3 weeks later, it gets here. Supplier says, all right, your order's here. We look at Amazon and it's break even or maybe even a slight loss. We will eat that every single time, because the second you back out of that deal, depending on how long you've been working with that supplier, it might trash the relationship. It might be done. However, in those cases, I like to tell my supplier, I like to be very upfront. I say, hey, we're committing to this order. We're going to buy it. No, don't worry about it. But just know that we're actually now losing money on this order. I like to tell them anytime we're losing money, because I like to show them like, hey, we're loyal to you, and I want you to know it, right?
Yeah. I mean, getting that first order in, it should be cutthroat, right? It should be. You just gotta do whatever you gotta do to get that first order, get your foot in the door, and go from there, right? From a brand perspective, you have a lot more leverage in terms of the data available, right? If a brand told you no, well, now do research into the sellers that are already selling under that brand. Are any of those sellers going out of stock? Or any of those sellers underpriced? Or any of those sellers getting consistent negative feedback? We have all of that information at our disposal in terms of other sellers. And so if any of those sellers aren't doing the brand justice, it's your responsibility, and you owe it to yourself to let the brand know, again, proving that you are a stable seller that should be sought after as a potential and promising business partner. And
I think to add to that point, so basically talking about how we have the data to show brand, like basically anything you want to convince a brand of, they're not going to take your word for it if you don't have that relationship yet. You've got to back it up with data. And we've had really, really good luck and success showing telling the brand something and then backing it up with data. So I'll give you an example. There's a brand that we're actually buying through a brick and mortar that that I just happen to know personally. And this brand has a lot of issues with maps. So what I did is I just recorded a 90-second Loom video of me saying, hey, wanted to just record this quick video for you guys, just showing you this graph here. Don't pay too much attention. It's a lot of data. I don't want to overwhelm you. But this orange triangle here is the FBA price, right, over the last year. Your map price is $500, but you can see that this listing based on this graph has not been map compliant since October of last year. And that's a real example. And I sent that video. And literally 2 days later, I was having lunch with the national sales director. Like, this is the type of stuff that really sets you apart and shows them that. And I made the point of saying, like, we're not breaking map. We're at $500, but everybody else is. So, like, we're taking a partnership approach. Maybe that warrants a further conversation. And the other thing is, we have information if their sellers under a particular brand are paying for PPC or not, right? Mm-hmm. It's those little things that you could point out
that show a specific group of sellers on their brand are valuing that relationship, right? They can't afford, if they're not willing to pay $1 for PPC or whatever the search terms are. You even also know what sort of search terms are being targeted, right? So you can go do some digging under a product. And if one of the biggest search terms aren't actually being targeted by its sellers, then the sellers are leaving and losing the brand money, right? They're leaving sales on the table. Again, as much data as you can provide that's useful and valuable for the brand's perspective, it's just going to lower the barrier of entry, increase trust, and ultimately increase your conversion at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And to add one more point to that, I know, I feel like me and Garrett are just talking, but I think this is really.
I'm just chilling. I'm paying an invoice right now. You guys are.
I think this is a really important point. So this is really low-hanging fruit to show a brand that there's a ton of value being left on the table. So that is when competitors are advertising on a brand's branded keyword. So what that means is, like, let's just say, like, you search the brand name on Amazon, right? So you type in the brand name exactly, and the first 4 listings that come up are sponsored products. If all 4 of those sponsored products are a competitor, then that tells you that that competitor is specifically targeting your brand's like keyword, and they're stealing market share, because when a customer is searching for that brand, the first 4 listings they're seeing are a competitor. And if I'm the brand owner, if I'm a decision maker at the brand, that's going to piss me off. Why are my 3 exclusive Amazon resellers, why are they not advertising on my keywords and allowing my competitors to literally steal market share from me by the hour, right?
Fire. Do you have a tutorial guide on SellerAmp? Yes. If you search Flips4Miles SellerAmp or Fields of Profit SellerAmp, you can find those right there. What do you think about getting?
Don't know about too.
I love that.
There's a lot of stuff that people don't use on SellerAmp.
Oh, dude. I mean, I learned shit too. What do you
in that video? I was researching all the panels. It's funny. Like, oh, I own the tool, and this is cool. I should use this more.
Don't get a part-time job at Marshall's. They're gonna fire you if you're abusing the 20% and looping it. I like the way you're thinking.
I like that. I like that thought, though.
I mean, it depends on how much you can get away with. If they let you buy like $5,000, go through the job interview for $1,000, that'd be worth it.
Well, yeah, and the upside on top of the profit in the first place. Yeah.
How can you avoid order cancels? Asking that a lot. Okay, cool. PayPal virtual cards are the big ones. And then just pick a variable and test it, right? So every order you're going to pick, the payment method, try 3 different ones. And then all 3 of those don't go through, right? Change the address 3 times, see how it works. And eventually you'll crack the code.
One of the big ones is just gift cards. Even if it's not discounted, buying a $500 gift card for Dick's Sporting Goods, that's worth $500. Yeah, you're not discounting that money. But if your ease of purchase goes up, if you can get that order through with no questions asked, I mean, there's so much value in that, right? And it's sort of like you're buying with like a money order, right? It's certified money. The brand, the seller, the store knows it's there. And so I feel like that increases your chances of getting that order through significantly. On top, and card cash, card cookie, like Raise, all those, a lot of times you're going to get discounted money as well. Right, so you increase your kind of order efficiency and obviously add tangible, immediate dollars onto your margins.
Best credit cards for FBA. The best beginner one is the Amex Business Blue. The best cash back one is going to be the Capital One Spark, the 2% cash back one that has the annual fee, not the other ones, the 2% with annual fee. And then the best one for cash flow is going to be the Amex Plum Card, which is a 60-day payback period. Okay, so Lee, you've been asking questions for, I think, like a year in my Twitter replies very consistently. So you're completely wasting your time if you don't go pro seller account from the get-go, just based on the benefits you get. And if you're like, you can't be worried about $40 a month. Like,
yeah,
that.
you can't get the buy box or use software basically.
Yeah. So
you can't get the buy box as a individual seller?
No.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
I knew that was the thing back in the day. I feel like it might not be anymore, but I have no idea. And either way, get professional.
I mean, if you run it up long enough on an individual account to know, then you've done it wrong anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes to all of that.
I didn't know you couldn't use software on an individual account.
Well, you can't integrate software.
Yeah.
So like you could use like SellerAmp, but you can't use like a lister or something like that.
Yeah. So the most successful students all work together on stuff. They have a lot of fun. They share ideas. They make it a social thing. Same way we do stuff, right? This right now is theoretically work, right? But we do it together. Warner texts me, LOL, like, do you see this lead? I'm like, yeah, family, like, here's the etc. Right there, right? So it's fun. So they gamify it and make it fun, because when you make it fun, you do it long enough to where it works, right there. And most people never give themselves a chance for it to work because they don't do it while it's hard, because it's not fun for them. So if you can make it fun for yourself and gamify it, it'll be a lot more fun, and you'll do it to the point it works.
I think that's a really good explanation. And I mean, the way I think about it is, remember at AMZ United, we're just chilling in the hotel room before the dinner the first night. I mean, there was like 7 or 8 guys in that room, and every single one of them was on a laptop, I think sourcing the same sale. And they're just like, hey, like, check out this lead. Like, here's this discount code. And I'm sure everybody there made good money in like the hour that we were chilling in the hotel room.
Yeah.
And I think to add to that is just having an abundance mindset. So yes, a lot of people jumping on your lead might create some sort of competition, but by sharing that with a couple of people, they're going to turn around and share 5, 10, 20, 100 leads with you over the next few years. So that's kind of how you got to.
Yeah, but even still, the chances that the products of those 4 or 5 people are going to the same FBA center,
zero.
Right,
same demographic, to the state, it's just so small.
Yeah. And
Brandon said he created a group with 4 other sellers in the Roadmap Discord. They've been meeting at least once a week, already been a game changer. Dude, that's literally the name of the game. I mean, those are the type of people, that are meeting weekly, daily, as often as possible. Those are the type of people that are going to win. And that kind of reminds me of, I heard recently, I never heard this before, but I think Mr. Beast met with some sort of group, mastermind group of YouTubers. I think every single
for like
day,
12 hours
miss a day.
Yeah.
And it was 1,000 days straight. It was over 1,000 days straight, and they didn't miss a single day.
Yeah.
And they literally didn't miss a day.
And they would just like study thumbnails. It's the same thing with Amazon, right? You're just like studying websites, studying past coupon, like all that kind of stuff.
Dude, I remember specific FaceTimes back in the day where Miles, Danny, and I would be on FaceTime for like 7 hours. It'd be like 10 to like 4. It was just straight through.
Yeah. And the equivalent, the way a lot of people treat selling on Amazon is like, I want to play basketball, but I'm never gonna talk to anyone that plays basketball. Like,
I'm just gonna play 1-on-5 and not pass.
And I'm trying to formulate even better. Like, you're thinking like, how can I get good at a sport and then only talk to people who think that basketball doesn't work? The only people you talk to are like, yeah, but basketball doesn't work. Or like, I don't think you can do it.
So someone asked, what is the sweet spot when it comes to looking for the amount of sellers on a listing that you want to hop on? So really the amount of sellers is completely irrelevant. As long as the number of sales justifies the number of sellers on that listing, then I'm fine. So we've really tried to boil down our sourcing criteria to be super simple, as opposed to looking at what's the sales rank, what's the number of sellers, what's the, what's this, what's that. I just want to know, is this product going to make me a gross profit of $400 per month when you factor in everything, right? And so, because that naturally that takes into account every single factor you could possibly think of. And if it checks the box, great. If it doesn't, we move on.
Right. I mean, because there's so many different ways to get there, right? You can sell a product 100 times for $5 or 250 times for $2, right? And so that creates that common denominator that for newer sellers specifically, I think it just establishes a lot more fluency across your sourcing, right? Because especially when you're new, it's hard to differentiate this fast moving product that sells really, really quick, but not maybe as much gross profit compared to 7 other products that all look different. Here we go again.
Garrett's outmatched. There's just way too much screen power over here. I feel like he's bigger by like 5 pounds every time you pick him up.
He was just like completely passed out. I don't know if anybody heard him like whimpering in his sleep. I had to wake him up.
Time to throw him across the room again.
I keep rewatching that video. It's so funny to me.
Don't throw that. There it is.
That boy always just looks like he's wiped out. Here we go.
He's so heavy. I love him that easy.
But you can hear the thump.
Yeah.
He's just like dead body.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of the wrong business model, CJ. Like, I think you got to watch some more kind of beginner friendly videos on it, basically. But like we all carry hundreds of different products at a time throughout the year. We buy small amounts from big retailers, right? So we're buying stuff on sale or directly from wholesalers, right? Pretty much the only reason why a product would fail is because too much competition came in, or the listing stopped selling a lot slower, which almost never happens unless it's like really seasonal. basically, or like, you know, something got lost or whatever. But like, you got to kind of dig more deep into it, basically, because like it's all just based on seller and Pakiba data.
Yeah. I mean, the whole idea is that the stuff already sells. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Since you're probably starting your first business, so it doesn't make a lot of sense to learn how to market, source a product when instead you could just source a product. And you can come by the free class on Wednesday. We'll get you a good little rundown there as well.
Big time, right there. Cool. All right, so we'll do a couple more.
That's
questions.
a transition.
Yeah. You can dance with the dog at that size. That's a good take there, Egg.
If he stands up straight, he's like taller than my girlfriend. He's like at least like 5 feet tall, standing straight up.
My question was more like, check the other listings in the brand and see what's the deal with them, because that's a little suspect. It could just be that super low competition. Check the other products in that brand.
And also click through to the seller storefront and see if they only carry products from that brand. Because if they do, then either it's the brand themselves and they're selling under a random storefront name, or that seller most likely has a solo exclusive with that brand, in which case it's probably going to be a waste of your time to reach out.
Are prep centers really worth it? Yes.
Yep.
Saving money, saving time, and is worth it. Yeah. Amazon ever take a listing down if your price is too high or too low? I mean, if you're like,
they won't take it down. They can
get like a pricing error.
They can make it sell slower, but they're not going to take it down.
And the item's going to sell slower in general too if you're selling egregiously high. But once again, like Lee, as a beginner, you don't need to worry about any of that stuff. Basically, found a few products at the grocery store. There we go. That's what I'm talking about right there. Cool. All right, guys. I think we're gonna hop off for tonight. Hope everyone has a great day. We'll be back next Monday. Free class. Go.thefbaroadmap.com/register. Ungating guide. All 113 of you guys, I'd estimate just based on per capita trends, about 30 of you guys are deathly afraid of ungating. You're worried that it doesn't actually work, even if we say it does. Luckily, you can go and get 100+ brands ungated today for $0. And you can check the link in the description on my YouTube and Warner's YouTube to get that done.
And we've been getting a bunch of wholesale questions too. So go check out Corey's YouTube. He's got a big wholesale starter guide for you guys as well. It's pretty valuable.
Boom.
Yeah, and guys, follow me on Instagram. I just got active there within the last couple of weeks. I'm at Corey Ganim. So give me a follow there.
Sweet
deal.
Been hanging out with everybody tonight.
All right.
See you guys Monday this week.